Good morning, good evening, good whatever time it is you're watching this. I'm Dave with Cups and Handles, and in this quick market recap, we're going to break down today's SPY price action, identify the key technical levels that matter, and discuss what I'm anticipating for the next trading session. We only have a few minutes, so let's jump right into the charts. Hello everybody, welcome to today's daily recap and analysis video. There's a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Gonna pull up the 30-minute time frame. Well, actually, let's start this with the 4-hour time frame. Okay, and forget the call and put wall for a moment. But we talked about this in last video. We've been talking about this range for months now. But this was a major resistance. And I know that I've stated very explicitly that this week, this can turn into a support. We generally see resistance ranges turn into supports overall. That's something I've been discussing for quite a while. And today was a perfect example of that. Almost from the get-go of the day, we were right at that range and basically had a massive bounce. Okay. Another thing that I want everybody to focus on again is this buying channel. Now, this buying channel can extend to the upside. We did talk about that in last night's video as well. However, so far it's being respected very heavily. You can see right here. Let me change this line. I want to change this to white so it's actually different from the yellow. But this channel, or the actual buying within the SPY, is following that range very closely. We're seeing that it even bounced off the top of that range. So far, this buying channel is being respected by the algorithms. So that's something that we can put a lot of weight into. That means that we can, in turn, respect it quite a lot. Now, with that said, in today's session, we did have the call wall originally at the 765. Okay, it wasn't at the 767. That did end up moving upward, and I'm sure throughout the day it probably moved upward even further. I just didn't check later. But with that, that means that either the dealers are going to focus on trying to sell very high V positions above that wall and then pull downward, or they kind of want to squeeze people out of their positions towards the end of the day, like they kind of did. Get people to sell. That allows them to close a lot of positions and continue upward. Okay, it's a little more complicated to find. Usually dealers don't want to do that, but if the gamma is pushing upward, then dealers will facilitate those orders and continue pushing that upside. So that's what we saw today, and that's what we've been seeing over the last couple trading sessions, is that this essentially is a very large market squeeze, and we know that's the case because we have gone from all the way to that 725. Now we're at 773, currently in the overnight. So trading is a skill that can last for a lifetime. Join my Patreon for live classes, my personal market analysis, premium Discord access, and direct communication with me. Invest in yourself, become a more consistent trader, and build a better future for yourself and your family. Visit patreon.com/wooksy to join today. Thank you so much, and let's return back to the video. And that leads me into what I'm expecting out of tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and delete the call and put wall. Now, for us to find out what I'm expecting out tomorrow, we need to be looking at the daily time frame. Okay. On the daily time frame, we have finally pushed above the upper Bollinger. This is again the first time we've done this since all the way back on October 18th of 2025. Let's see, back in here, right in that range. And this is massively above that, okay? So my expectations are, and this is something that has been heavily back-tested, doesn't work out always, okay? But it does work out a fair majority of the time, is that we can usually anticipate a higher high. Okay, that means that from this close at the 771, we can expect a higher level to be pushed, um, at least through the pre-market and potentially into tomorrow's intraday. From that push, hiding the Bollingers, going back to the drawings, that puts our level basically up in this range. Okay, so we could be trading potentially at the 776 all the way to that 779 tomorrow. Potentially higher if they decide to break this channel to the upside. I'm not really expecting that yet. I'm not really expecting the 780 to come just yet. But this has been a very, very large squeeze. So I think those are all on the table. But with that said, from that higher high of the upper Bollinger on the daily, generally we see a pull down towards support. Okay, now going back to the daily time frame, well, where's our local support at? Usually that's the 5-day moving average. 5-day moving average currently at the 749.44. That should probably be around 753, 755-ish on open tomorrow. Are we going to be pulling down to that range tomorrow? Absolutely not. But usually that consolidation lasts over a period of anywhere from 1 to 3 sessions, where the 5-day moving average will be pulling up towards us, and then we see a consolidation down into that range. Okay, so I think that's very, very viable at this point. And going over the hourly time frame, I think that makes a lot of sense as well. Let's hide the moving averages and Bollingers here. But assuming we do push upward tomorrow, let's say halfway through the day, we start seeing some of that downward consolidation. Well, we're expecting the 5 mile on the daily time frame to be around that 755, 757-ish, give or take. So let's just mark this line in green. Let's say 5 mile will be around there. Next session, start pulling down even further, maybe even towards that 773 again. Okay, maybe a little lower than that. Our 5 mile, if I can grab it correctly, will be pulling up even further. And as you can see, this is starting to pull up into the buying channel. And that's exactly what this market wants. Okay, next day, start pulling downward even more. And then all of a sudden, we'll be very close to that 5 mile. So that's kind of the expectation at this point, is that we should be anticipating a higher high into downward consolidation. Now, we can have a downward consolidation that can hit very, very hard. This can essentially go to the top of the channel and then all the way back down to the bottom of the channel. Doesn't have to be tomorrow, can be over the next few sessions. But remember, the bottom of this channel acts as a support. Top of this channel acts as a resistance. So we can use that to our advantage. Until we start seeing our moving averages pull up to this range where we can actually start targeting those levels. But we're not completely in uncharted territory here. Even though we might be at all-time highs, this is still something we can map out. Okay, so again, I heavily suggest marking down this buying channel. It's going to be helping you greatly within your 0DTEs, because even with today's trading session, I took a couple puts today because I didn't enter right at the get-go. We saw a little bit of resistance at one range, and I tried to play puts into that. They kind of blew up almost instantly. We closed those fairly quickly. Not too worried about that. But with that said, that meant that we could very safely target the top of that channel. And we did discuss that in the stream today, that potentially the top of that channel would make a very, very quality target. Lo and behold, we push all the way to the top of that channel. And so our expectations are still remaining kind of the exact same. Tomorrow, I'm expecting the higher high into downward consolidation, whether it happens all tomorrow or if it happens over the course of a couple sessions. So now with the data tomorrow, We do have the ADP unemployment change, and that's for July, not just the weekly. So that will hold a little weight. But one thing that can work for the market is that usually dovish news is seen as a good thing for the market because that kind of pushes away rate hikes. So if we get the ADP coming in dovish, which I believe it should be, that could be a positive catalyst for the market. We also have the S&P Services PMI at 9:45, so 15 minutes after open. And we have the ISM non-manufacturing data at 10 a.m. And part of that data is the ISM non-manufacturing employment, which again, that should also be dovish. So there's a lot of potential to continue pushing the markets up. Now, I know AMD did suffer a little bit in their earnings. The AMD earnings were very, very good, but as you know, we've been talking about over the last couple weeks, investors are kind of allergic to CapEx spending right now, and AMD heavily increased their CapEx. Um, Basically, it was like, I think a 300 or 400% increase in their CapEx spending over the quarter compared to last year. So right now, that's really turning investors away. And potentially that can create selling within the SPY. Now, we're not currently seeing that in the overnight. We're seeing the SPY holding very steady. We're seeing tech down just a little bit and semis down just a little bit. So overall, that news isn't hurting the overall market, even if AMD is getting hit pretty hard. Um, this is actually massive, but they went all the way from the 532 down to the 474. Um, Absolutely huge move to the downside. Okay, so that can absolutely influence the market right now. And if they want to see continuation in that selling, it definitely can push the SPY downward more. Um, but it's something I'm not too concerned about at this point, as semis have been getting hammered over the last couple months regardless. So anyway, that's my analysis for the day, and I hope everyone has a great trading session. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you like my content, it'd be great if you could leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great day, and thanks for watching. Take care, everybody. That wraps up this market recap. If you found the analysis helpful, please take a moment to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who would benefit from these daily market breakdowns. It really does help support the channel and allows me to continue creating free educational content for everybody. As always, have a trading plan before you enter a position, manage your risk, and remember, we're not trying to predict the market, we're trying to prepare for it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.